There are about 7 billion people living on this earth today. However, 8 million still aren't eating or aren't able to provide food for themselves. What if I were to tell you there's an even bigger issue? In about 30 years, the population will have increased by 35%. And agriculture is not keeping up with the population increase. Therefore, meaning we could be in that 8 million soon to come. So with this not just being an issue of the state or an issue of one country, this is a world issue. And if we don't address it now, we're going to come to a terrible future. That is why feeding the world in 2050 is a big issue. To be more specific, food security. So what is the underlying issue with feeding the world in 2050? Well, for one, land. There's only 29% of land right now in the world, and 71% of the world is water. 71% of that land is habitable, but 50% is being used by agriculture already, leaving only 20% of land left for forest or to live, etc. So agriculture has already taken a big piece of our land. So the issue is in making more food with less land. And when you have land and land creating food, you need water. And right now, agriculture is taking 70% of water used in the world, worldwide. So that doesn't leave a lot of water left. And most of our countries are dependent on irrigation. Irrigation is being used in Asia and Africa. And I believe only 7% of Africa land is being irrigated according to the Food and Agriculture Organization. And it drops to 4% for Sub-Africa compared to 38% for Asia. So it's irregular irrigation. And with irrigation, there's also a need to rely on the weather as well. And climate change is another issue for feeding the world in 2050 because the weather is unpredictable. And annual average temperature is increasing and will continue to increase by 2050. So this can decrease food availability, especially if we're dependent on irrigation. Agricultural production will be at risk by not being resourceful with unpredictable weather. And growing seasons of much of Africa and Sub-Africa have been projected to be more than 20% shorter, all the way up to 2100. So there is a lot to go into this, such as population will increase, which means food demand will increase, which means that we might not have enough food production because there's not enough water to grow the food. There's not enough land to grow the food. And climate change has a negative impact on all of it together. So the question is all hope lost? No. What can farmers do? The USDA has a soil health solution that can increase the amount of quality in the soil, as well as increase productivity of the plants because the soil is creating more plants at a less pace of land being used. But what can you do? Educate yourself. Be a part of the change. Decrease food waste. Conserve water. Because if not, it won't be a bright future. Be the start to the end of a problem.